guys, it's Reagan, and today I honestly just felt like filming a book haul. So that's what I'm gonna do today. So yeah, I realized I normally film my book hauls at the end of the month, but I had noted to myself that I had accumulated quite a few books already in the month of September, so I'm just gonna haul them now. And they're kind of all gonna be they're not gonna be really in any order because I kind of just like pulled them and stacked them, So the very first two books I'm going to show you were both sent to me by Penguin, and they're the most recent books Penguin has sent me. The first one is Schizo by Nick Sheff. I am actually really excited to read this book because it centers around a boy who has schizophrenia, and I believe in the beginning of the book he has his first episode and then his brother goes missing. And I absolutely love books that focus on psychological illness. I know that sounds really bad, but it's not because I love the psychological illness. I just love when authors explore a normally taboo or just some things that aren't necessarily talked about in everyday life. And I just really enjoy it. I really enjoy Chalk of the Fall, which is another book that deals with very similar issues. So I'm really hoping I like this a lot. And the next book they sent me is pretty darn exciting, and it is The Young Elites by Marie Lu. This is Marie Lu's like fantasy new release. I've only read Legend by Marie Lu, and I quite enjoyed her writing style. It's really action-packed and fun, so I'm expecting this to also be action-packed and fun. I don't know how fantasy it's gonna be. It does have a map, so I will let you know from a person who reads a lot of young adult fantasy how fantasy this reads. Not that that really matters, but I'm curious. Maybe you are too. Next we have a sequel to a book that I read earlier this month and I showed you. Haha, can you guess? And I really want to read this, but I have to read some other books first that I also really want to read. But I just have like a list I need to read first before I can read this, and it's Sweet Peril by Wendy Higgins, the second book to the Sweet Evil trilogy. As I mentioned in my September TBR, I was currently reading this first one of this, and I was kind of liking it. Well, the thing is, I got really into it. It was exactly what I wanted. It's like a paranormal romance demon book. I don't know. It's along the lines, if you like Jennifer L. Armentrout or Rochelle Mead or anything like that, I think you would really enjoy this series. The first one, like I said, is Sweet Evil. It's really fun, angsty, but if you're in the mood for that, it can be exactly what you're looking for, because I think this is actually pretty well done. This is up there with the ones that I've read, so I'm excited to continue on with the series. Hopefully I'll be able to read this soon. Next, we have the most important book in this haul, so there you go. You can just stop watching after this. Just kidding, don't. That would hurt my feeling. But it's Airfyer by Sarah J. Maas. Let's just look how beautiful it is. Just look at it. Look at the green, look at the glowing, look at the mammoth, look. I'm currently reading this. I'm more than halfway through at this point. I love it so much. If you're not aware, though I'm sure you are, this is the this is the third book in the series, the Throne of Glass series, and may I just say, the series gets better and better with every book. The world building that is currently happening in this, it's just, sorry, this is not a review for Airfyer. I mean, I could literally just make this whole video about Airfyer and I'd be okay with it, but we're gonna move on now. It's just this book. The next thing I'm going to show you, I've actually been seeing quite a bit around on the booktubes, which makes me happy. I haven't read it yet, but I bought it like over a month ago. I think I just forgot to haul it in my last video. Basically, I'm trying to tell you that I'm a hipster and I bought it before all these other people did, which isn't true, but I want you to think that. Anyway, it's a graphic novel called Deadly Class. This is I've been waiting for the bind up of all the individual serialized like comics to come out because I like these, and it's by Image Comics, which I've had great luck with. Basically, this is like a high school for assassins. It's really dark, it's really gruesome, but the art style is fantastic. So basically, like every chapter, they stick to like one color sequence, and it's so beautiful. I mean, like it's super bright. See, like this one's like green and blue, but then this one will be pink and red. Like it's beautiful. I mean, it's gruesome, it's violent, and I think it's set in the 80s too, which is just awesome. This is lots of things that I like in graphic novels, and I haven't read it yet. I'm gonna read it this month. No, I'm not. I'm gonna read it in October. There's literally a man outside my apartment painting, and I'm pretty sure he can see me filming this video. This is so awkward. Well, I realize now this lighting is not ideal. There's literally men painting the walls outside of my apartment, like right next to my window, so they're probably getting a whole bunch of great information about books from me, live, so you're welcome. So the next book I'm going to show you guys was sent to me from First Second Books, and they're a graphic novel company if you're not aware, and they sent me this, which I requested, actually, I requested this, and it is World War I in Poetry and Comics. So basically it takes a lot of really well-known World War I poetry and they put it to comics, and it's just really awesome. If you didn't know this about me, war poetry, specifically like trench war poetry, is some of my favorite poetry. It's the word poetry a lot in that sentence, but I just really like it. And I love comics and graphic novels, and I just think this is such a cool idea, and it's done by like a whole bunch of different artists and stuff, so all of the art style throughout the book is different. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing. Like, I feel like I'll just flick through this all the time because it's awesome. The next book was a book sent to me by Penguin that I forgot to mention in my last haul. Oopsie. And it is Between the Spark and the Burn by April Genevieve Chukote. This is the second book in the Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea duology, and I really want to read the first book in this really soon, maybe in October, because fall's coming, October's coming, which calls for a theme month. And this is a paranormal romance, something spooky, something. I don't really know too much about this, but I do know the covers are beautiful, which is obviously all that matters. Just kidding, no I'm not. The next book was actually an unsolicited ARC that I'm really excited about because I've been hearing some great things about it. A lot of people have finished copies of this as it's a book that's already out. Anyway, Simon & Schuster sent me 100 Ways Sideways by Andrew Smith, and this is his newest release. It's a contemporary book. I actually know nothing about this, and I don't want to know anything about it. I have a love-hate relationship with Andrew Smith. I absolutely loved Grasshopper Jungle, which I read of his in April. Wow, he has released 2 books in the same year. That's really impressive. And I also read The Marbury Lens by him and hated it. But at the same token, Winger is also by him, heard great things. So I'm leaning towards more love spectrum for Andrew Smith. If anything, I will read his books and I will have an experience. So I'm excited to get into this and see what I think about it. The last part of this book haul is basically a segment called Reagan went to a bookstore and bought a whole bunch of adult fiction she didn't need, period. But, you know. First book I'm so excited about, and it is literally so right up my alley you have no idea, and it is All That Is Solid Melts Into Air by Darga McCoyne. And this cover is stunning, for one thing, let's just acknowledge that. And this is an adult historical fiction novel. It's set in Russia, surprise, after the Chernobyl meltdown, and it follows many different perspectives, and I think they all tie together, which is kind of like my favorite thing in the world. I just love a multi-perspective historical fiction book set in Russia. Like, it's gonna work, it's gonna happen every time. And it's like right on the eve of the fall of the communist Russia, or the USSR. I don't know, I think it would be really interesting because I actually haven't read anything. I'm talking, okay? I'm trying to film a video. I haven't read anything historical fiction set in like the late 80s, set in the like USSR era, right? And I just think this would be really a cool book to read, and I want to read it, okay? The next book I'm going to show you is kind of embarrassing because I already own it, but I found it at a bookstore for $7, so I rebought it because I like the American cover more. And it is A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. Yes, I already own this book, but look how pretty this edition is, and I really want to read this soon. I'm really excited. I know I'm going to love it, so I just rebought it. And I wanted to display it on my bookshelf. So this novel I've mentioned quite a few times, but it's about a couple, I think 2 or 3 women perspectives, and one of them finds a diary washed up on the shore from Japan, and then she's reading this diary, you're reading this diary, you're reading from the perspective of the person who wrote the diary. Apparently it's really touching and great and wonderful, and I've heard really great things, so yeah. Next, we have a very exciting book that didn't make the short list, which makes me really sad. Basically all the books I have bought from the Man Booker long list were not made to the short list, but oh well. And it is The Bone Clucks by David Mitchell. This book is really heavy. I feel a lot of people have been highly anticipating this. I've only recently anticipated this, and I pre-ordered it because I'm quite excited about it. I don't know what this book is about, and I'm pretty sure if I tried to look it up it'd be way too complicated to even try to fathom. David Mitchell's the same guy who wrote Cloud Atlas, also a really highly acclaimed novel. I know what Max from Well Done Books just finished it and loved it. Literally, I don't know what this is about. I'm not even going to pretend like I know what it's about, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. The book is beautifully made, like the cover, the inside. I'm sure it has a lot to do with, like, I don't know, the world and perspective and all those things that make you think with your brain cells. The next book I also bought on sale, and it's great because I've been wanting to read this for a long time, and it's The Ghost Bride by Yang Zixou. And this is a book that follows, it's a historical fiction novel set in China, and it follows a young woman, and she's, I don't know if this is an actual tradition or like an ancient tradition or how long this tradition is going on, if it was, how long it lasted, if it was even a thing. I think it was a thing. Sorry. Anyway, it follows a young woman who is picked by a very wealthy family to marry their son, but the catch is the son's dead, so she marries his ghost. And yeah, so this woman's picked to be this recently deceased young man's ghost bride, so she's a bride to a dead person, and I'm pretty sure it's just gonna look in like the social significance of this, and this woman having to deal with having a dead husband, like being a widow before, like, she gets married to be a widow. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on with that? It just sounds so interesting to me that I just had to pick it up, and hopefully I really want to get to this soon. I say that at the end of every book, but I promise I mean it. Next we have Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. I also got this on sale, and it's beautiful. This is a historical fiction novel set in World War I. It's about a woman who constantly dies and then gets reincarnated, and she lives a whole bunch of different lives. And that concept just sounded so cool to me that I instantly bought it. Plus, Gillian Flynn said one of the best novels I've read this century. And I just finished Gone Girl and I loved it, so I trust Gillian Flynn with lots of things. And I don't know, it just sounds like a really cool concept. The idea of living life, being reincarnated, knowing your experiences from a past life, but then also living another life that's completely separate from the one you lived before, just sounds cool, okay? And the last book I'm going to show you guys, I've already shown you in my TBR, and it is The Enchanted by Renee Denfield. This, as I mentioned, is a fiction novel that has apparently really like a very strange writing style, and it follows two perspectives, like a writer and a priest. The writer is exploring like maybe the mental states or just reporting on death row inmates, and the priest is also involved somehow. I'm not entirely sure, but just the concept of like a book about death row inmates just sounds really cool. So you know, this book sounds cool, and it's shiny. Alrighty guys, those are all the books I have bought so far in the month of September. Yeah, so let me guys know down below any books that I should read immediately. Maybe I'll listen to you, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye!